hope for you. Now, I want to talk finally about you developing a simple pattern for personal devotions. Okay? As far as I'm concerned, the most important thing that should come out of this course is for you to help to develop a regular devotional life. Now, and by devotional life, I mean your own personal devotional life. And I put an emphasis on regular. Now, the ambition that you will always have is to develop a complicated devotional life. The most important thing is to keep it simple and be realistic. Start off where you are. Okay, if you've had difficulty of having devotions once a week, okay, do it twice a week. But what I'd say, basically make it your aim to have at least some devotional time every day. Just in terms of practicalities, the advice I give is to work it as part of your regular daily routine. If you analyse your day, you'll find out that every day basically follows the same pattern. The two times which are most significant devotionally are at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. And if you're going to be realistic, you've got to make it as a part of your regular routine, not to add it somewhere else, sort of floating on your day, but to embed it in the routine. Let me illustrate. If I set for myself the task of having sort of a quarter of an hour devotions every morning sometime, guess what would happen? It would hardly ever happen. But what I do is the following. I've got a certain fixed routine. It's rather boring, but I need, unless I follow this routine, I have a bad day. This is what gets me going. Now, I set the alarm, but at this stage of my life, I've got an inner alarm, and I wake up before the alarm goes, or sometimes just a minute or two before the alarm. You get used to it. Okay, the alarm goes, I get up and I shave. That's the first thing. This is automatic pilot stuff. I don't have to switch on the computer. I don't have to think. The routine carries me along. I have a shower, I get dressed, and I try not to rush any of this. Just at a measured pace. Because if I rush this, then the whole rest of my day feels rushed. Then I have breakfast, and I've got my own breakfast, and I get it by myself, and I usually get up before my wife Claire. She sleeps longer than me, so I have breakfast by myself. I get my breakfast, but also part of my routine is to get the paper and run my eye over the paper. Now, there's a deliberate reason for reading the newspaper. I get the Australian, I look at it, to stop me falling into a trap, which is to begin to Start working for the day. This is not work time, but by reading the paper, I do reading, I receive something. It's just news, it's nothing great, terribly profound. I check up with what's going on, and I eat and I read the paper, and I do it in a leisurely kind of a way, not rushed again. But can you see why I read the paper? It's to stop obsessing, to stop planning, to stop working. Because the work has to start somewhere later on. And for me, I've learned over the years to have very clear times when you work and very clear times when you don't work. That's the secret of a productive life. Not to confuse work and non-work, but to have separate times, separate places for work and leisure. One of the few bits of advice I can give you, that. Okay, I have my breakfast. Then after my breakfast, I do my teeth, because for some reason, I can eat something in the middle of the day and it's okay, but if I eat in the morning and don't brush my teeth, I feel yucky. And it's partly because of that night stuff in your mouth, yucky stuff. I do my teeth. Then I'm sort of ready. Now, the danger is to start work then, but then I put my devotions in there, and then I travel to work. Okay, get in the car, come here, And also, when I travel, I deliberately do something else. I listen to the radio. Can you work out why I listen to the radio? What, sorry?
You're still in the not work.
I'm still not workspace. I don't start working until I switch my computer on at my desk. Under no circumstances do I ever allow myself to switch on the computer until I get here. Now, devotional life fits in best if you make it as part of your regular routine. Do you know why this is the case? You can see how embedded it is.
You do it in autopilot.
What?
You do it in autopilot.
You do it on autopilot. You don't have to decide whether to do it or not. It's autopilot. And if you do it on autopilot, then you protect yourself against spiritual sabotage. Do you know what I mean by spiritual sabotage? Because it's part of the routine, it works in the same way. What would happen if I missed cleaning my teeth in the morning? What?
You wouldn't feel right for the whole day.
The whole day would be yuck. And if I didn't have a shower in the morning, it's even
More yucky.
yucky. Okay? The same goes then for my devotions. Can you work out, because I've done it now for years, what happens if I don't go into that routine?
You don't feel right.
I don't feel right. My whole day is off centre. It's not right. Can you see you're using something that's natural for your advantage and you're harnessing it? Because if you depend on having to decide whether to have devotions or not, then you set yourself up for spiritual sabotage. Just get it part of the routine. And it's a very simple activity then to do it with whatever amount of time you want to do it. The same too in the evening. We have a different routine in the evening. We have devotions at the evening table for our meal, and then we have made it a practice, and I'll come to this, the importance for this for those of you married. Before the end of the day, Claire and I spend some time together debriefing on the day. And these days, because we've lived together long enough, our two body rhythms are basically in sync. So it used to be she'd go to bed early, I'd go to bed late, and she'd get up early and I'd get up. I'd get up. She'd get up early, I'd get up later. But just living together, we've got in sync with each other, and we always go to bed at the same time. So we debrief on the day, and then we have a time of prayer together. So that devotional end is together, and we support each other by praying for each other and the concerns that we have. And we don't have to decide to do that. In a sense, that's the easy one, because we keep each other honest, accountable.
Yeah.
I know.
One person doesn't want to do it, the other person.
The person says, okay, let's pray. Yeah. And you don't feel like it, but the other person does. Can you work out why also that we connect it with debriefing on the day? Sorry, what? What to pray for. And how to pray for things. Because you, in a sense, you just go back over your own story of the day. Because I don't know whether you're like me, when I come home from work, I don't want to talk about it, I want to switch off. I feel tired, I want to switch off, I want to veg out. The last thing I want to talk about is my day. But it depends a bit. When Claire's working, she feels the same thing. But if you're married, you need to have your devotional life in sync with the other person. If you're single, it's much simpler, because you just have to take yourself into account. But if you're married, you've got to connect it. I can't emphasize strongly enough how important just simple routine is, and how much that will work for you, and what great blessing routine is. Going beyond that, what I'd suggest that you do your devotions, whether it's evening or morning or whatever it is, that's up to you to decide, at the same time every day, and with a different purpose. What's the purpose of morning devotions?
Thinking ahead of what you're doing and asking for God's help.
Okay, it's so that you plan the day and work the day not by yourself at the centre, but with God at the centre. So it's, if you like, being briefed by God for the day. And look, it makes such a difference. Maybe it's because I've been so long at this. If I don't do that at the beginning of the day, my whole day is off centre. Do you know what I mean, off centre? I'm always rushing things. I'm not really in what I'm doing. I'm sort of playing a kind of a catch-up. Or the feeling is, work's out here and I'm here. Instead of me being in what I'm doing and what I'm doing being part of me. It's off centre. Being brief for the day. What's the purpose of evening devotions? Whatever it is.
Gathering petitions of the day.
Closing the day off. In psychological terms. Debriefing.
Putting it on God. All the
Putting it on so that you can switch the computer off and so that you can have a peaceful night's sleep. I don't know whether you realise how much insomnia is becoming a plague in our society. And that's not just a psychological, physical problem, but that's a spiritual problem because people never switch off. They work even when they're not working. I know, so times, and construct your day clearly, work and non-work. Separate them from each other. To confuse the two is a real curse. The secondly is to have the same place. I do my devotions at the desk. I have a desk and I've got a particular place where I sit, and just sitting and being at that desk is a devotional place for me. Other people that I know do their devotions not sitting down but on their feet. Luther couldn't sit down and pray. In fact, when he died, the people went into study, and the room, you can go and you can visit it to the present in Wittenberg. The room is, about yay big, but in front of the window of his room, the floorboards have been worn down to half the thickness. Why?
That's where he paced.
That's where he'd pace. And how would he pray? How would he meditate? Not sitting down, but walking. Backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. He'd pray on his feet. Now, some of you are very active people. You find it very difficult to sit down. Find your own place and your own bodily posture. How many of you find it easier to meditate, pray on your feet, even by going for a walk? Okay. What can I just get just so that you hear? What's your thing, Tom?
Going for a walk is very helpful.
Okay. Do you have a particular same, circuit?
Not really. No.
So you decide you go where you want to go. What about you, Julie?
It's walking and or running, and
Yes.
same thing.
Yes, and then your mind goes on that. Who else was it? Yes, Chris? Yeah.
No real route.
No real route. No real routine?
No.
No. Michael?
It's both and walking and sitting, depending on where I'm at.
Okay. But notice that there is no rules for this. You've got to fit your own character, your own personality. Discover what works best for you. And don't be intimidated by other people, and don't let them dictate to you the way things are to be done. Find what comes naturally to you.